the God you are inside. You are, as a spirit, a part of God, or the infinite power or good force. As such, you are an always growing power that cannot be lessened. Rather, even as it has in the past, through many years, always expanded and built you up. Regarding intelligence, your current mental state has been developing to match its present clarity and quality of power. Through many more physical lives than the one you are currently leading, you have silently added to each past life the power it requires. Every mental struggle, against pain, against appetite, for more skill in the doing of anything, for more advance in any art or calling, is unique. Fight discontent at your shortcomings and flaws. The goal of living is happiness, and you possess more good mental qualities than you have ever known. Embrace challenges and obstacles as opportunities for growth and self-improvement, becoming a stronger and more fulfilled individual. Happiness is not found in perfection, but in the journey towards becoming the best version of yourself. Keep striving for excellence and discover new depths of joy and contentment in your life. Your mind would not see your shortcomings if it were less clear, and you are not where you might have been in a mode of self-complacency right now. The text describes a person who once believed they were perfect and constantly growing. However, they now realize that true perfection is unattainable and that accepting flaws is crucial for personal growth. They are closer to achieving wholeness and contentment, despite not being the all-powerful being they once believed themselves to be. Embracing imperfections brings a newfound sense of peace and self-awareness. And through recognizing shortcomings, they can appreciate the journey towards self-improvement. The best evidence of this is the ability to see things in oneself that they never noticed or sensed before. This realization is akin to a vermin-filled poor air cavity under your house. The discovery of a mental cavity can be repulsive, but it can also lead to growth and transformation. It's like a physical cavity under the house, where the process may be unpleasant, but ultimately results in a healthier foundation. By addressing inner flaws, individuals can continue their journey towards self-improvement with a renewed sense of purpose and clarity. There's no need for discouragement, as God presents them to us. We are not perfect creatures, and we can't fix all our flaws. As God presents them to us, we can overcome our imperfections and continue on our journey towards self-improvement. Right now, you are curing them. Every mental protest of your own against your error is a push of the spirit forward only. You cannot hope to heal them all in 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week, 1 year. Although you will never live in your future, you can see where you might grow personally. If you find room for development, of course, you must see the flaw that has to be corrected. Stated differently, you see for yourself a still better completion, a still more refined elaboration, a finer and finer shading of your personality. The force always arriving to you is always more and more complex. Stop obsessing over your flaws and discover that you are among the temples of God, constantly under construction. Your journey towards self-improvement is a continuous process of growth and refinement. As you embrace flaws, you will see yourself as a work of art in progress, constantly evolving into a more beautiful and intricate creation. Release the obsession with perfection and focus on the divine essence within you, building yourself into a magnificent temple of God. No talent stops developing, just like a tree's growth during winter. If you stop practicing for a month or a year, you will find an increase in your ability, fresh ideas, and authority for execution. You wonder what purpose life serves. You cannot essentially aim your own life. It is meant for a destiny. A law controlling and bearing it to what? To a limitless and always rising capacity for pleasure. Your power must rise as well. You are not able to stop becoming, though appearances would suggest the opposite. The suffering you have gone through follows that same spiritual development, pressing you relentlessly against the source of your suffering. Thus, you should finally consider that suffering as evidence that you were on some incorrect road. You have to grab from which right away. And when you are living sincere, to know the proper path and cry out strongly, something will always come to guide you in the correct manner, since every sincere call is responded to by law of nature. And an honest demand or prayer for anything always brings the required supply. With what goal should one live? To maximize the enjoyment from it, to so acquire knowledge on living. Every day will be searched for in hope that it will be as full and even more joyful than the one we lead now. To drive even the memory of time hanging heavily on our hands away. To be grateful for our life. To surpass disease or suffering. To guide the body using spiritual power. Thus, it can experience no suffering. To underlie and direct the ideas, that will thus always grow in power, to act and work apart, far from our body. Thus it will bring us all we need of house, land, food, or clothing, and that without depriving anyone of their rights or committing injustice, to get more authority. Long as we wish to use the body, the spirit will thus always recover, reinvigorate, and rejuvenate it. 0 hours, 6 minutes, and 7 seconds. That means no organ or part will weaken, wither, or decay. To be always discovering fresh forms of entertainment for others as well as ourselves. To enable us to be so full of enjoyment and use for others. We might be welcome to their presence. To be everyone's friend and none of anyone's adversary. That is the course of life. In those spheres of life, we're individuals as real as we are. 0 hours, 6 minutes, and 31 seconds, and far more active than we are. Have discovered and am always learning how to maximize heaven from this life. Every individual spirit has that as its unavoidable fate. One cannot avoid ultimate happiness and permanent pleasure. As you develop on in this and other lives, and all the suffering you have gone through or now do, are like pokes and prods to steer you clear of the incorrect routes, to help you to abide by the law. And the more sensitive you develop, the more precisely you will see the law guiding away from all suffering and ever toward more happiness, and to a state of mind in which life seems to be an ecstasy. Furthermore, lost is all sense of time, as we lose our sense of time, when we are really amused or interested. Alternatively, look at an exciting performance or drama. In the words of a biblical record, then, a day will be as 1,000 years and 1,000 years. According to Hindu nirvana, all the possibilities of life are arriving on earth, presuming the peace, tranquility, and mental confidence. This comes from the complete assurance that every endeavor we undertake, every business we run, has to be successful, and that our realized happiness this month is only the stepping stone towards next much more happiness. You are sure the sun rose this morning if you felt the trip of foreign travel you now long for and wish for was as certain to come as now. If you knew you would reach your unique and personal excellence in painting or oratory, as surely as now you know you can walk downstairs, either as an actor or sculptor or in any kind of art. In our perfect lives, we will know that by directing our mental power and thought on any project or endeavor, we will achieve success and mastery in our chosen field of art. Our journey towards these goals will be smooth and effortless as we possess unwavering confidence in our abilities. With every step taken, we will be one step closer to realizing our full potential and achieving greatness in our craft. Our passion and determination will guide us towards a future filled with artistic success and fulfillment. We are settling at work with the attractive force of intellectual substance, which will guide us towards executing our plans. Now, you hardly give any thought to your telegram arriving at its target. While you know next to nothing as to what electricity is, you do know when it is applied in a certain way, it will carry your message, and you will have the same confidence that when your thought is regulated and directed by a certain method, it will do for you what you want. Before men understood how to use electricity, there was as much of it as today and with the same force. Regarding our convenience, however, given the ignorance to guide it, it was rather useless as a message carrier. Very much in a similar condition, the great power of human thought is with each of us today. We waste it since we cannot focus and direct it. It is worse than wasted because through ignorance and lifetime habit, we run our mental batteries in the wrong direction and send from us bolt after bolt of ill will toward others, or enviousness, or snarls, or some sort of ugliness. All of this is real. Incorrectly and ignorantly applied, it may strike and harm others, and most definitely hurt us. The basis of all effective work in this life or any other is this: never in mind reject what to you may seem the wildest idea with scorn. In so doing, you may not know what you are closing the door against. Never in thought acknowledge an impossibility. Saying anything is impossible is only so much training in the dangerous habit of denouncing impossible to every new idea. You seem to find this difficult. Your brain then becomes a prison of doors, locked to all outside, and you the only prisoner. With God, all things are feasible. God acts inside and through you. To declare impossible as to what you could do or become is a sin. It is denying God his ability to operate through you. It is denying the power of the infinite Spirit to do through you far more than what you wish you could now conceive in mind. Saying impossible is to establish your rather weak limit of understanding as the universe's normal state. It is as bold as to try measuring an endless with a yardstick. Saying impossible, and I cannot makes a present impossibility for yourself. Your thinking is the biggest obstacle to the possible. It is not stopped by it either. You will be pushed on, hang back as much as you can. No successful opposition to the continuous and universal improvement of all things, including yourself, is possible. You ought to say, I could be anything I respect. You should say, I could be a writer, an orator, an actor, or an artist. You have then opened the door to your own artistic temple, right within you. You close it so long as you say impossible. Your I cannot. Was the iron bolt locking that door against your face? Your can. Is that bolt the power shoving back? Christ's Spirit, that of thought, had ability to command the elements and calm the storm. Your spirit has in the germ and waiting for fruiting the same power as part of the great whole. Christ could turn the invisible element of his thought into the scene and materialize food, loaves, and fish by means of power of concentration. Every spirit possesses that ability naturally, and every spirit is developing to such strength. You find a healthy baby boy today. A pound cannot be lifted by it, but you know there lies in that weak child the powers and possibilities which 20 years hence may enable it to lift with ease 200 pounds. Therefore, one can predict the approaching spiritual power by increasing power. For us, who are now rather young spiritually, the law is unknown, which makes life's being so miserable here in this area of existence. We reject it and experience instead of its pleasures, its suffering. No matter what power they may have acquired, the law cannot be totally learned by us from past record or the past experience of anyone. Such records or lives could be quite helpful for us as suggestions. Though there are universal values that apply to all, each unique and individualized person is governed by particular laws as well. Neither I nor you can follow straight in my track in making yourself happier and better. Every one of us is composed of a unique mix of elements, since element has entered into and shaped our real selves through the years of development. To achieve enduring pleasure, one must discover what their nature calls for. They are a book that demands independent study and comprehension. Only they can truly understand what brings joy and fulfillment. explore one's desires, interests, and values, and use this self-knowledge to guide decisions and actions. Embrace the journey of self-discovery and allow yourself to grow in alignment with your true nature. You hold the key to your happiness and well-being, so make the most of it by understanding and appreciating yourself fully. No one else can think or feel as you do, so no one can assess what you truly need to make your life more complete, perfect, and happy. Learn what food, technique, and association would be most suitable for you. Any art, any business, any profession brings you the best results. Talking with others who share your interests will really help you. Those who might know more than you of basic laws can really help you. By regularly meeting with sincere, honest, and honest people who also have some clear goal to accomplish, and by talking yourself out to them and they to you, you can be greatly helped to get force or courage or fresh ideas to carry out your undertakings. However, you're off the main road when you embrace any man or any woman as a perfect guide or authority, and follow exactly what they advise, since you are then conducting experiments of another person formed of a particular combination of elements or chemicals and the outcome of those experiments. The rule of your own particular combination of elements, when the elements outside of it may be quite different, and differently interacted upon by your combination. More of other minerals and chemicals and combination and recombination of mineral and chemical in your physical body than earthly science has yet thought of, you have iron and copper, magnesia and phosphorus. Still finer and more subtle, you have in your spirit or thought the invisible or spiritual correspondences of these minerals. All these are differently combined and in different ratios from any other physical or spiritual body. How then can anyone discover the unique behavior of this, your personal combination? Save yourself, please? Although there are some universal rules, each person has to apply the general law to himself or herself. Though every vessel uses the air in quite different ways, it is a general rule that the wind will propel a ship. Thought is force, a general law that can influence and is always influencing outcomes for others far from our bodies. And our associations greatly influence the quality of our thinking in terms of effect. But for this reason, I should not choose your character of associates or your way of life, even if yours is the better thought or power, since I see that using it will propel you ahead in the world. As tests, I can try your techniques, but I have to keep in mind they are only tests. I have to avoid that so common mistake, that of slavish copy and idolatry of another. Once confident of his followers not to honor him, the Christ of Nazareth once said I am not good. None good except God alone exists. Christ said, I am the way and the life, meaning as the text interprets itself to me, that as to certain general laws of which he was aware, he knew and could also give certain information. He never did, however, assert that his personal life, with all the human frailty or defect he had acquired, should be exactly duplicated. He prayed not to the infinite Spirit of good for more strength and release from the sin of fear. His spirit quailed at the prospect at his crucifixion, and in so doing he conceded that, as a spirit strong as he was, needed help as much as any other spirit. Today, every man, woman, and child on this planet is working on and through that power. Stated differently, it is God working in us and through us according to the Bible. All of us are components of the infinite power, a power always carrying us up to higher, finer, happier grades of existence. No matter their degree of intelligence or way of life, every man or woman is a stronger and better man or woman than they were years ago. Though all seems contradictory, the desire in human nature and all forms of nature or of spirit expressed through matter is to be more and more refined, depending on a certain development of mind and unconscious desire. The God desire is active on the lowest drunkard rolling in the gutter. That man's spirit seeks to pull him out of the muck. It is at work on the greatest liar, which motivates him, if ever so subtly, that the truth is better. It's at work on people you might find horrible and disgusting. Christ answered in a way suggesting that there should be no limit to the sum of one man or woman's forgiveness for the flaws or immaturity in another, when asked how often a man should be forgiven any offense. The kind and helpful ideas we offer for another person who falls frequently and suffers with some unnatural appetite should not have any limitations. Saying or thinking of an intense man is a great evil, usually done unconsciously. Oh, he dropped by the dogs. Doing anything more for him is useless, since when we do, we send depressing, demoralizing ideas floating about. It suits that individual. He or she will sense it, and it is to them a component slowing down their advancement from the slough they are in. Just as some people's similar thinking has slowed us down in our attempt to escape some sloth we were in, or are in now. Slough of uncertainty, slough of despair, slough of ill temper, slough of envious, hateful thought. Still, the spirit of man becomes stronger for all its challenges against it. It becomes stronger for those challenges against your censorious, unmoral ideas. Reason: I would sooner have your approbation than your censure, until at last it carries a man or woman to a point where they may in thought say to others, but from whose judgment, from whose displeasure there is no escaping, I am not dependent on your approbation or censure for my most rigid judge and surest punishment. For all the evil I do comes of my own mind, the god or goddess in me. But as the spirit gets clearer and clearer in sight, so does that judge in ourselves become more and more forgiving for its own mistakes. The spirit is a natural force that seeks to overcome evil and challenge its flaws. It is through facing and embracing these flaws that we can grow and evolve as individuals. Through mistakes and challenges, we learn valuable lessons and become stronger. Self-improvement is a continuous process, but with determination and self-awareness, we can overcome obstacles. Our inner judge guides us towards forgiveness and growth, leading us towards a brighter and more fulfilling future. The nature of the spirit is to fight against flaw, but it cannot be taken away from us. The quality of always rising towards more power and happiness is inherent in the spirit, and it is punishable by natural or divine law, which carries a penalty for every conceivable sin. For murder, or lust, or lying, or theft, or evil thought, or gluttony. And these penalties are being administered constantly, and thousands of people suffer for sins they committed in ignorance of the law of life nowadays. And the suffering of such punishment has grown so great and bears so much weight on so many that knowledge of more of these laws is now more than ever desired. And for this very reason is this want fulfilled, and these answers are coming in. It is the inevitable law of nature that what the human mind demands, that in time gets, and the more minds so demanding are there, the sooner the demand is satisfied and the questions are answered. But a few years ago, rather met the demand of human mind for more speed in travel. Electricity met a demand for more speed in sending intelligence from man to man. These are only as straws, pointing to the discovery and application of more powers, not only in elements outside of man, but also in the invisible elements which make man and woman, and in the elements unseen, which make you and me. Our race will thus start to be raised out of evil or cruder forms of expression, not by fear of the penalties coming through violation of the law, but rather by love of the delight which comes of following the law as we discover it for ourselves. You eat reasonably, since experience has shown that moderation brings the more pleasure. Not that you have constantly before your mind the fear of losing that friend if you are not kind and considerate, but because it pleases you and you love the doing of kind acts, you are gentle, kind, and considerate to your friend. Human law, and even divine law, as understood by human knowledge, has always been saying, you must not do this or that, or you will feel the rod. One has seen God as a merciless, austere, avenging God. The weight of the preacher's song has been penalty and punishment, guilt and sentence. Humanity is to be won over and tempted to greater goodness, to purity and excellence. By the always rising pleasures brought us as we refine, so forgetting all about penalty and punishment. In primitive times, humanity relied on penalties to maintain its condition, as it was blind and required constant punishment. However, as we evolved, we realized that we no longer needed a rod to stay in line. We evolved beyond physical punishment, understanding the consequences of our actions and making choices based on reason and empathy. The idea of punishment as a motivator is becoming obsolete as we embrace a more enlightened way of living guided by our own moral compass, rather than external threats of punishment. This shift towards a more enlightened way of living is becoming more prevalent.